Hey, Math 1 kids. I'm on jury duty, so I'm helping you out by doing the first problem in function families with you right now, okay? That way you'll sort of know how to do the rest of them. So, if you look at that handout that's on Google Classroom, it says Classwork Function Families at the top of it. It says split your whiteboard into three sections: linear, family B, and family C. There are a whole bunch of function families, but we're only going to learn those three in Math 1, okay? You'll learn more in 2, 3, and Math 4. So, I've done that already on my whiteboard, so to speak. Ta-da. So, then the next thing is, let's just do number 1. It says this: the situation is a company has $100 to split among its employees. And then they say, here's the first variable, how many employees there are. And variable 2 is how much of the $100 each employee gets. So they only got the $100, so the more employees you have, then the fewer each person gets, right? Okay, well, first we have to do this. In part A, it says, decide which variable is independent and which one is dependent. So we did a little of that already. Which one of those depends on the other? You should pause this video right now and see if you can figure that out. I'll wait. Okay, hopefully you paused and you realized, look, how much money you get depends on how many people there are in the company. The more there are, the less you get. So that means how much of the $100 each employee gets, that's the dependent variable. So that goes in the Y column. So I'm just looking ahead, and in part B it says make a table of the situation, remembering to label the columns with the variable names and the units. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to make a little table over here off to the side. And the dependent variable is the Y, right? So I could even label this Y, and then this would be X. And so this is how much money, amount of money, and the units is dollars, right? I don't know if you can say, I know it's really tiny to see that. Amount of money in dollars. And then the independent variable is how many people there are, number of employees. So number of employees, okay? Bam. Good. Now here's an interesting thing. Do you know how usually we just go 0, 1, 2, 3 on the x-axis? So actually that doesn't totally make sense for the first value, because here's the thing. Can a company have 0 employees? No. There has to be at least one person. So I'm just going to skip 0, which is kind of good because it gets into a weird graph situation otherwise, which maybe I can tell you about when I get back. So I'm just going to start with 1. Let's say there's one person in the company. How much of that $100 do they get? All of it, right? All 100. So if there's one person, they get $100. Okay, what about if there are 2 people? Well, then each one gets what? $50, right? Alrighty. I hope you can see this okay. It appears backwards to me right now. All my writing is backwards in the photo booth app I'm using, so I'm hoping it reverses itself so you can actually read this. For those of you that are good with decimals, you might know how much money each person gets if there are 3 people talking. I'm going to skip that for now and just go to 4, because I can put anything I want over here in the X column, right? 4. So just think about quarters. If there's $100 and there are 4 people, how much do they each get? 25. And now I happen to know what this graph looks like, so I'm just going to skip ahead a little bit to make it really apparent to you guys. Let's say that there are 10 people, okay? And then how much does each get? Hopefully you just said $10. Okay? Now, is that linear? You might not be sure, actually, because you're only looking at a table, so it's kind of hard to tell. Actually, some of you might be able to figure it out, but let's just say let's just make a graph because that's part C. Do you see? I'm looking at number 1, part C. It says make a graph and remember to label the axes. So in the spare part of my whiteboard, I'm going to do just that. I'm going to make a graph. Okay. And number of employees is my x-axis because it's the independent variable. I'm going to abbreviate here. Number of employees. Hopefully you can see that okay. And then over here is the amount of money. And its units are dollars, so I'm going to put that in parentheses. Okay. Hopefully you are doing this on your whiteboard also. And geez, you can probably just skip part of this video if you know how to graph, which I know we're going from a table form to a graph form, right? So I'm just going to do that. Now look at this though. Do you see the amount of money goes up to 100? So I am not going by ones on my y-axis. No way. I have a very little amount of space here, so you might be able to do something different. I'm going to go by 20s, okay? So 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, and then I'll go by ones on my x-axis. That 10 is going to be sort of a hassle, but oh well. I kind of feel like this is a cooking show, except that I'm doing math instead of souffling some kind of fancy dish. Okay, I'm just going to make the graph now. Over 1 and up 100. Bam. Over 2 and up 50. So right around there, maybe. You see that so far? Over 4 and up 25. Whoa, that is so not linear. You guys see that dot? Is that going to end up being a line? No way. Even on my primitive graph where I'm not showing, I'm not doing it on graph paper, I can already tell. And then over 10 and up 10. Holy moly! Look at that puppy. Can you guess what it would look like if you connected the dots? Which we have to, right? It's a function. So I'm going to do that for you. This thing skyrockets up. It'll never actually touch the y-axis, which is why I skipped 0. And then it curves around, and then X's out this way. Bam! One interesting thing about this problem is this. Will it ever touch the x-axis here? It's getting closer and closer, right? Can you tell that it's getting closer and closer? Like if you had 200 employees, each of them would only get, what, 50 cents, right? So you'd be barely above the x-axis. But it'll never get there. It'll actually never, this is a weird graph where it never has an x-intercept. It never touches the x-axis. Because here's the thing. Even if you were the biggest company in the world, even if you had 1 million people in it, does that mean they would get $0? No. Would they each get less than a penny? Yeah. But it would never actually go to 0 here. Okay, so we've just made the graph. We've labeled our axes. So now we go to part D in the handout, okay? Part D says this. Call this problem company and classify it under family C. Okay, I'll do that. So do you see I've got my 3 families up here? This is apparently a new family for us. It's not linear. It's not this mystery family B, whatever that's going to look like. This is going to be called family C. For now, we're going to learn the actual name for it in a second, okay? Well, not in a second, but in a few minutes. So I'm going to put it right here, company. Bam. Okay? We are now done with the first problem. Now you guys work in your groups, go into number 2, where it looks like snow is falling at a rate of 2 inches per hour. Do the exact same things, though. Decide which variable is independent, dependent. Make a table. Make a graph with nice labeled axes. And then put the, in part D, they're going to call the problem snow, and you're supposed to classify it under one of these 3 families. If it looks like this graph, you know it's going under family C. And if it looks like a line, you know it's going to be under linear. So there's only one more mystery sort of to C here, which is what does this family look like, family B? Okay, before I sign off, I just want you to know one thing, okay? I'll just re-emphasize it. These are not actually called family B and family C, okay? They actually have names, just like linear, okay? I I just want to make sure, though, that for now, you know that that's going to be coming ahead of time. Okay, hopefully all that made sense. Ask each other. If it doesn't, please, please, please don't sit there for, 78 minutes being clueless, all right? You hunt out answers. Your substitute teacher might be able to help you depending on how much math they know. So please, please, please find answers, and I'll be back in school on Wednesday. Thanks.